stop falling in love before you know what you're buying.
No home is going to be perfect. We do the inspection, and part of the purpose of the inspection is so you know what's coming, what potential problems you can have. But at the end of the day, you're buying a lived-in house that's been through repairs and whatnot, and you're paying a price that you think it's worth. Oftentimes, our price that we offer takes into consideration that it's not perfect and you're not moving into a house that needs absolutely nothing. As an agent, the tough love to the buyers on an inspection thing is, look, you can't go back and ask for every little thing on the inspection. I mean, you can, but if you want to buy a house, you probably shouldn't. Hi, everybody. I am Rebecca Nedelka, your realtor mom with eXp. Welcome back to our podcast. This is episode 2, and today I have Todd Hoffmeyer with Top Choice Home Inspections. Todd is not just an inspector, he's a master inspector, which I recommend him to all of my buyer clients, also some of my seller clients, but we'll get into that. So Todd, welcome to the podcast.
Well,
Why
thank
don't you
you.
tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
you?
thank you, Becky. I'm honored and privileged to be here on your podcast, especially on your birthday. Happy birthday,
Thank
Becky.
you.
Yeah, so I've been a certified and licensed master inspector for going on 13 years now. So, inspecting residential and commercial properties.
Awesome. Todd is somebody that I trust to inspect any home with any of my buyers. He's definitely saved some of my clients from some nightmares. I give him a little bit of a hard time, tell him don't make this fall through, but really at the end of the day, I want him to be honest and make sure that he calls out those issues that could ultimately be a nightmare for the client down the road. So one of the things that we want to jump into is trying to figure out and explain to buyers why an inspection matters. So, what is one of the most important things you feel that an inspection does to help a client?
Yeah, a home inspection is really the only truly part of the transaction, in my opinion, that protects a buyer. We're there as a third party. We're going to give you the honest truth about your house. Most of the time, it's just minor things, but there could be some major things that's lurking that we need to make you aware of that.
Right. And when I go through the process, I show my clients a house, and obviously they get to the point where they're ready to make an offer. And one of the things on the contract is obviously, do they want a home inspection? So when I look at them, I'm trying to find some of those things, but you find all the things. And is there really such a thing as a perfect house that doesn't going to have anything? Because I mean, most of the inspection reports I get are probably 39, 40 pages.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
they go from little minor things that are $10, $20, $30 fix to potentially thousands.
Yeah.
So what's one of the number one things that buyers don't necessarily realize about an inspection?
For one thing, a home inspection, it's not a pass or a fail.
Right?
We're there to give you the overall condition of the home and help you understand what might be major or minor. But yeah, no home's perfect. We're gonna find things, new homes, new builds,
Right.
old homes. Yeah, older homes do have more issues, but we'll help you understand and make that confident decision.
Sure.
What's best for your family.
So obviously we're in Ohio. So we have some unique things that we might run across in home inspections. And as a realtor, trying to look out for my clients, obviously I'm always going to encourage an inspection. It's in a buyer's best interest to have an inspection. I know a few years back, one of the things that was happening was, to win an offer, buyers were waiving inspections. Obviously, it's not something that I recommend, and my job is to tell you it's in your best interest to have an inspection. So what are some of the things specifically to Ohio homes that we run into? I know basements, some of the things that you see. I know there's always, you categorize, and I'll let you explain how you go through your reports. Todd has a great inspection report that allows us to break it down into the categories. So when I'm looking at it, I look at the orange and red, and I don't even look at
Yeah.
the blue. I'm going to be honest. Those are for
Yeah.
my buyers because to me as an agent,
Mhm.
all right, the blue are things that now you're just getting nitpicky.
Yeah.
I know they're important. Don't get
Yes.
me wrong, but can you explain some of the more important issues that we might
Mhm.
find in an Ohio house and what's the level of, you know, need to get certain things fixed versus others we can,
Mhm. Yep. So, a common problem in Ohio with a lived-in house is usually electrical. I am going to find that DIY sparky things in the home that expose wire splices, improper splices, abandoned wiring. Just a missing faceplate could be a hazard as far as fire and safety wise. So electrical is common. There's not too many reports that don't have something with electrical. Another common problem with the older homes is usually some moisture intrusion, and that those a lot of times could be easily fixed by maintaining gutters and soil grading around the house. Those are kind of common
right?
problems, but most of the time they are easy fixes.
Yeah. So I find a lot of buyers when they see moisture intrusion or
Hmm.
things like that, they panic and think, oh my God, I can't buy this house. But really, what you're saying is simple fixes. I mean,
Hmm.
sometimes obviously it's a lot
Yeah.
more um, major and red
Hmm.
flag, but
Yes.
is moisture always comes up in a red category or is it where does it fall? Like, is in, you know, red is the
It
safety, orange is the,
yeah. Red is action needed or safety issues. If we got excessive moisture intrusion, that could be a health hazard with mold growth. That's kind of my opinion on how I
sure,
categorize things. A lot of times, if it's just take care of the gutters and direct some soil grading, maybe there's a concrete slab that slopes towards the foundation, needs re-leveled
sure.
to slope away. A lot of times it just goes in the orange.
And what about mold? I know that's another big one that people
Mhm.
panic about, but is it true that oftentimes mold issues are easily resolved? And maybe it was something that there was an issue that was fixed, but the mold wasn't remedied. So just because there was mold doesn't mean it's automatically the house is out and we can't handle it. Like there's different ways to remediate mold.
Yeah.
Is there a mold issue that is you would think is worse than another, like basement versus attic, bathroom, like when it comes to mold, what would you advise buyer? Like what would be your normal recommendation on a mold situation?
Um, well, we wanted a dry basement as much as possible. We don't want to get the floor joists that are wood, get elevated moisture, and then create conducive conditions for mold growth. A lot of times we get into the attic spaces, and the bathroom fan, unfortunately, has terminated in the attic for years. So then we get some apparent mold growth up there as well. But a lot of that in the attic can be treated pretty easily. There's a wide variety of methods on how to treat mold, but just getting into any drywall or anything leaking from plumbing or that may be getting into more something that we can't see. Maybe it's behind a wall or something. Maybe there's an indication that we come across that we find a leaky pipe with our infrared. We have like a standard of care, so I use all tools that I have available to me. If I feel that there's a plumbing leak, I'm going to run an infrared scan of that area. They're not all the time, they're not full infrared scans, but just my standard of care, I'm going to try to detect that leak that may be causing some mold somewhere where we can't see. But air samples, we can get into all kinds of type of testing with that particular subject. Yeah, so it could be fixed most of the time pretty easily, but yeah.
Okay,
So.
awesome. So obviously, you've been in tons of houses in your
Hmm.
career. There's got to be something wild, crazy, funny What is one of the like craziest things you've seen in an inspection?
There's several, but the one that sticks in my mind the most is attics are always the last place I go.
I don't go to them.
So if I remove the hatch. I already sense that an older couple lived there. I get up in the attic and get my flashlight out and start looking around, and it is knee deep in raccoons scat. A truck could drive over that. It was so deep. So they had a plastic container screwed down to the attic floor. They were feeding raccoons.
Oh my God.
So I informed my buyer, my client. They got some remediation quotes for ranging from $4,000 to $10,000. The seller didn't feel that they needed to do anything.
They were their pets.
Unfortunately, the deal fell through. I got to talk to my client a month later when they was getting another inspection. And that house went on the auction within a month. And every time I drive by it, I wonder, does those people did they know what they bought?
Right.
If it goes on auction.
Yeah, because on auction, you don't really get the opportunity to do those inspections.
Right.
And I mean, depending on the auction, sometimes you don't even get to go inside and see. Sometimes you do, but if they were living there, you probably didn't get to see the raccoon stuff.
No.
Yeah. Ew, did it stink?
I didn't stick around too long enough to get some
smells
pictures.
Get me a little bit. I think you know that about me by now.
Yes,
I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. But it did smell, yeah.
Ooh.
But I got out of there. I got my pictures and what I needed to do. And
so I have a funny one. I had a pest inspector come to a house that I was listing, and we knew that there were raccoons. I'm surprised by how many people have raccoons in the attic. But we knew that there were raccoons that were up there. They were gone. They were taken care of. They weren't being fed. They weren't wanted. But they had left some stuff that they must have eaten something and had to go to the bathroom. And it all fell onto the exterminator guy. And he got showered in raccoon poop. And it was so gross. So I'm glad that didn't happen to you, because that would be a little traumatizing, I think. He was traumatized.
Yeah.
But so that's a pretty pricey problem. So talking about expensive problems, what is one of the most expensive problems a buyer could walk into? Is it stuff like extermination? Is it the mold? Is it electrical? Like, what do you think one of the most expensive things a buyer might have to face from an inspection?
Things that you can't see from the ground, or some things that you don't see just walking through by running water. There's for example, a nice looking brick chimney from ground level looked really nice.
Oh.
Until I walked the roof. And then I could see that the crown on the masonry crown completely collapsed into the top of the fireplace.
Oh, ow.
So once I got into the fireplace, you couldn't even move the flue damper. So, that could be a few $1,000s. And if they didn't know and it continues moisture getting in the top of that chimney, that could be $10,000s.
Sure, right.
When it gets down the road. Another example would be, as a home inspector, we run water. Even a lived-in home, we have found a sewer backup just by running water for a period of time.
Wow.
I believe I have a picture of that one.
Some of the pictures.
I know I had it.
Do you often have sewer issues with houses? Oh, what?
Yeah. So the sewer backed up into the basement.
Ew.
But that's just from us.
That's sewage?
That's sewage. So we do recommend sewer scopes on older homes. Even new builds, we find construction debris in there.
Yeah.
So it's important.
That was one of the things I was actually just going to ask you about, because I know that we recently did an inspection in Cuyahoga Falls.
Okay.
And my buyers ordered a sewer scope. And I don't think I realized exactly what this entailed. And you were doing a sewer scope. And I was going to gag.
Yeah.
And you were in there in the trenches like...
It's not pleasant.
No. And you see it on your screen.
Yep. We take a video of it and we provide that to the client.
And what kind of things do you see in that video?
Well,
Because I feel like I saw a bunch of poop. I mean, it was pretty
yeah,
gross, and I was, like, starting to, like, "Okay, I
yeah,
don't think I can look at this video anymore,"
yeah,
because and then you have to wheel that thing
yeah.
it just
It
gives me
it
flashbacks to that
it
moment.
it took me many years to add that service myself. I always subbed it out. I thought that was something that I would never do. Scheduling issues, and I decided to do it myself. I've grown to learn how to get through it, but it is a process that we can find, and we have found damaged pipe.
And so
And
if they have a sewer scope and everything's clear, good.
mhm.
But when you have damaged pipes, like for a buyer, what does that look like? Is it something like obviously if the sewer's just backed up, it can be cleared and clogged. But I know one of the things is like tree roots going into a sewer pipe, and that can really shift what's needed. As far as the repairs on something, is there a point where like, what's involved, I guess? Like, what would your advice be to a buyer when there is a sewer issue?
They need to have it repaired. In my report, I'm referring them to a plumber.
Okay, so a
Have
plumber
the
would be
plumber look at the video, make that decision on if they need to dig it up, or maybe they can just line it and not
okay.
have to dig it up. So there is options that may not be as expensive as other.
And I know that's one thing that I really appreciate about you as an inspector with the buyers is if they choose to attend, obviously for your sake, we always ask that they attend at the end. Don't follow the inspector around and like ask questions throughout the whole thing. Cause at the end, you give them an opportunity to see what's wrong and you can explain what's more critical, what's less critical, and show them where some of the issues are. Having them there for that gives you the ability to say, obviously it's an opinion, but a plumber would be someone who you would contact for a sewer and you can tell them
Mhm.
what some of their options are. That's definitely an advantage for a buyer.
Yeah, we encourage our clients to be present at least the second half of the inspection so we can review them and help them understand what the issues are, if they're minor, major. We're there to help them out, make that decision, what's best for their family.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So one of the things we all know I'm a mom. And so as a mom, we like to give a little bit of tough love. Sometimes we have to do it. If you can give buyers one piece of tough love advice with regards to inspections, what would that be?
Stop falling in love before you know what you're buying. Um,
Good point. Very good.
there's a lot of things are recently painted, shiny countertops, finished bathrooms, but let us get in the attic, look at the foundation, the electrical, and we can give you that um, issues that may be related, or we're going to give you a peace of mind that you got the right house.
And I give buyers a different perspective on tough love as well, because what I'm going to tell a buyer is no home is going to be perfect. Yes, we do the inspection, and part of the purpose of the inspection is so you know what's coming, what potential problems you can have. But at the end of the day, you're buying a lived in house that's been through repairs and whatnot, and you're paying a price that you think it's worth. Oftentimes, our price that we offer takes into consideration that it's not perfect and you're not moving into a house that needs absolutely nothing. So, as an agent, the tough love to the buyers on an inspection thing is look, you can't go back and ask for every little thing on the I mean, you can, but if you want to buy a house, you probably shouldn't. There are things, and I always talk to Todd after the inspection and say, "What's your opinion?" And like I said earlier, I tease him a lot about you trying to make another deal fall through. But the reality is, if it needs to fall through, it's okay. We would rather make sure that the buyers are aware and walk away from a headache if it's
Yeah.
just something that's too much. So tough love to the buyers is always, we like to give that tough love. Now flipping a little bit to sellers,
Mhm.
the market is, up and down. It's shifted. It goes from a buyer's market to a seller's market. One of the things that I've recently been suggesting more frequently is a pre-home inspection. When you do an inspection for a seller, what are some of the things that you would suggest to a seller to fix prior? Like if they're doing the inspection to figure out what things that they might need to fix,
Mhm.
are there suggestions that you have on what things would be better to have fixed? Is it electrical? Is it plumbing? Is it, where would you advise a seller to go
Mhm.
for repairs?
One thing is we recommend a pre-listing inspection. That gives you the overall condition of the house. There may be some things that we look as a owner we've overlooked over the years, but as far as fixing anything, not really required to fix anything. But if you want to tackle some smaller stuff, or if there is a major stuff, something that would affect the sale of the home, then yeah, we're going to need to address that. But in my opinion, the pre-listing inspection gives you, as a seller, you can say, hey, here's what the inspector found. This is my price. This is what I'm sticking to. You're disclosing everything that we found. But I think it's less stressful for everybody that's involved, especially realtors. You don't have to go back and renegotiate.
Right,
But
right.
but you guys know the market better than we do. Just yeah, we recommend pre-listing inspections.
Yeah,
You're gonna find the right buyer.
I think it's definitely something I wish I would have dove into a little bit sooner because, the fear is always, well, what if there's something wrong? Okay, well, if there's something wrong, it's going to be wrong when a buyer writes an offer and their inspector inspects, it's
Hmm.
going to be found. So knowing up front can be a real big advantage to the seller as well. If the sellers do that pre-listing inspection, can the buyers use it? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, actually, through my inspector association, we offer the buyback guarantee, which can be transferred from the seller to the buyer 90 days after closing. So if the inspector does miss something, our inspector association will buy that house back from the buyer for full price.
that's pretty impressive,
Yeah.
honestly. And so when I give my recommendations to my buyers and sellers for an inspector, this is why part of why I recommend Todd is because one, he's honest, he's got fair pricing with all of his services, and they've got such an amazing buyback program. And I know that he's certified as a master inspector, so he's had additional certifications and trainings and things like that. So it does make a difference. And sometimes I think when we refer people, clients think that it's a kickback. It's really not. It's truly about what's in the best interest of the
Hmm.
buyers
Yeah.
and sellers. So I think that buyback program kind of
Yeah.
reinforces why Todd is a great inspector. And have you ever had to have a house?
Haven't had to use that,
Pretty impressive. He's
but
never used a buyback.
yeah,
So
seen
that
it.
shows he's a good inspector.
Yeah, I've seen it work, and it does work, but no, I have not used it.
Cool. Very cool.
Mm.
So just to kind of wrap it all up, what is one of the best ways that a buyer could prepare before you show up to the inspection? Is there anything that they should do to kind of get themselves ready?
Just have an open mind. We're going to throw a lot at you in a short period of time. We're only there for 2 hours, and we're going to review for a half hour, whatever it takes. But just be open-minded. We are going to find things, but we're there to help you understand minor and major
Oh,
issues.
very cool. Well, Todd, thank you very much for joining me today. I know you've saved my clients on several occasions. We have walked away from some properties, and I'm always okay with that. So I'm glad that the people listening get to hear that from you. And of course, you're my top referral inspector. So if you're looking to buy a home within the next year or so, don't skip the inspection. Call somebody thorough like Todd. He is a master inspector with Top Choice Home Inspections. And then, of course, you're going to call me, Rebecca Nedelka, your realtor mom, and I've got you covered. We always keep the process simple, smooth, and sold.
Thank you, Becca.